Collaboration and trust are the key to long-term success. In this video, Chief Buildings highlights the value of strong relationships between district managers and their builders. So, Troy, thank you so much for joining Erin and I. We want to talk about the relationship between Ironhide Construction and Chief Industries with Chief Buildings. Tell us about how that relationship started and what that relationship means to you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So we started with Chief Buildings in kind of an inorganic way back in 2015. We actually, in our early days, we used to provide erection-only services where we would actually put up multiple different brands of buildings. I think our count is 14 different brands of buildings historically. And then in 2014, I believe it was, we ended up getting hired under a contractor out of Lincoln to put up a tennis facility that was provided by Chief Buildings in Lincoln. It's the Sid and Hazel indoor tennis facility. And just immediately prior to that, we had gotten done putting together an alternative building brand where we had over 300 different fabrication issues, where we had to essentially cut off many clips and refabricate on site, where the customer service from this other company did not support those efforts, and we were forced to just cover that cost on our own. 300, yeah, in excess. And then immediately after that, we went to build this Chief building, which was relatively equivalent size, big indoor tennis facility. We got done with that entire building, and there was incredibly few very minor issues. And it was at that point right there that we decided, okay, there's an opening to support and supply Chief Buildings. So it was in 2015 when we made the commitment to only sell Chief Buildings and then to only erect Chief Buildings. And that's where we've gotten to today. We started off with just a couple little ones, and we've grown into what we are today.
And so you mentioned you've been with Chief Buildings since 2014. Erin, you've worked with Troy for quite a few years now, decade now. Yeah. How do you build those strong relationships with partners like Troy's?
It takes patience with partners like Troy.
That feels like a personal affront.
That is an amazing story, though, because I was the general sales manager at the time that you guys came on board as a builder. And I really didn't realize the backstory. So that was neat to hear that again. I got to remember those things in my brain. But no, I think it takes, it's a two-way street to have a relationship in the manner that we've built it over the past, 10 years. It takes patience, it takes trust, it takes confidence in each other's abilities to do what we do. And I think the main thing every day is we have fun doing what we do. And we make it light, but we work hard. And we're also experts at what we do, and we trust each other to each perform the way we need to perform for a successful building project.
Well, and you nailed it there. So just like our business is founded completely on relationships matter, right? And our core values align very, very closely with Chief Industries as a whole, but then also most specifically Chief Buildings. And because of those alignments of core values and the communication and the trust and the support through all of this, it's allowed us to grow together. Again, obviously we're just one of your many suppliers, but I feel every day we call and talk to you, we feel like we're your priority.
Absolutely.
Right?
And you can feel it between the two of you. You're joking. It's not all business all the time. And I'm sure that relationship has to transcend across just the business, the four walls of the office. What other things do you guys do that helps build those relationships that you can really have that trust that you mentioned, Erin?
Over the years, that's pretty important. Our top customers around the country, they're family to us. Not just our top customers, all of our customers, but we have quite a bit of activity with the Ironhide account, and we're operating in a lot of different markets. So it's important that our team members, all of our support teams, get to know each other, understand their wants, their needs. So we've done tailgates in the past. We do tailgates
next weekend.
At our office. We actually have one, coming up next weekend. That'll be exciting. And Ironhide invites their past customers and their employees to that tailgate. We have our employees that will be there, and it's just a chance to have, some fellowship and enjoy some drinks and good food and celebrate our Husker football team.
Well, yeah. And it's just time together outside of business, right? And by the way, you're invited as well.
Oh, thank you.
But I mean, it's beyond that too. It's also just grabbing coffee together, sometimes grabbing lunch together, which seems so kind of trivial, but when you can actually spend time getting to know each other on a personal level, obviously these chief trips and we've got, golf outings and all that stuff, but when you can actually learn about their wife, their parents, where they grew up, their children, etc., that creates such a more rich relationship that surpasses that superficial relationship you have with most, we'll say, business development people or sales reps that we work with from other suppliers, right? We have very few suppliers that we work with that we have such close relationships.
Yeah, I would say if I want to add to that, the way we function on a daily basis is not transactional.
Yeah.
When I walk into Ironhide's office, it's my office,
Yeah.
and that's the way they expect me to function. And so it's, not that this needs to happen all the time, but it's unannounced sometimes. And it's just great. You just want to do better for people like that.
Yeah.
Always.
Well, and just continue to provide for the community, right? So it goes beyond just Ironhide and Chief. It also goes to our employees and our, like you said, our owners that we work with, the subcontractors that we support because of the business that we bring and get them opportunities on, right? So it's not just, 2 or 3 people beyond my executive leadership team or my project management team. It goes so far. I mean, on a daily basis, the decisions that we as a team affect thousands of people, right?
And I would have to imagine, and I'm sure it happens, where there's challenges on the construction site that you said there were 300 on one building. And so that's not uncommon. It definitely happens every time. But it feels like because you have this strong relationship, you're able to work through those challenges. Give us an example or tell us how you work through those challenges on a construction site based on the relationship that you have.
With Chief specifically. So that I really enjoy this question because, what we always talk about inside of our organizations is with construction, it's perceived as one of the most complicated processes in the world, right? And it's primarily, human errors happen. And when you've got hundreds, if not thousands of people inputting into different products and services that are put onto a facility, you're going to run into problems. So we just always say it's not if you have a problem, it's when, and it's how you respond to it that defines you, right? So, as I said earlier, the previous building that we had put up that had 300 some issues, we were basically left out on an island to handle that and deal with it ourselves, where the rare times that we do have small, minor little fabrication issues with Chief, they don't just ignore it and pass the buck down the road and essentially say, well, it's your problem to deal with. No, they throw the full weight of Chief buildings and their leadership team comes behind them. I'll get contacted by, people even higher than Erin that will call and help to work through issues. As an example, we had a small fabrication issue where the hash plates got welded on the wrong end of the columns. This was early. I think this may have been the first or second building. Well, I called, and at that time it was Gary Taylor. I called, and that afternoon, Chief had a truck there to pick up that rafter. They brought it back. Now, proximity helps because Lincoln's only an hour and a half away, but they picked up that frame, brought it back, and had it back to us midday the next day, repaired, right? And that's just not something that happened with anybody else we put buildings up for. So the fact that they're willing to own a mistake and fix it, that speaks volumes. And again, that happening so early in our relationship with Chief has really contributed to us staying so faithful.
And so, Erin, on the back end of that, what does it take when you potentially get a call from Troy or somebody like that to help mitigate those errors? Who do you talk to? What does the team do in order to fix it and move forward?
Right. We have a very strong customer service team that steps in. I kind of try to stay out of the way when there's problems. My job is really up front in the process. That's how I mitigate and limit problems, is how thorough I am working with Troy's team and with a general contractor, an architect, and an engineer.
And owners.
Owners, yeah. We have a process that we've refined over the years that has become very successful in terms of how we start a project and lead the entire team all the way to the owner through to the finish line. And it works really well. Troy thinks it's proprietary, so I won't describe it.
Yeah. What do you mean thinks? It is. It is. We've named it.
We actually have a brochure on it. So that's where the district manager, where I feel my role is. And when he has a project that we don't have a call on, I know I've done my job, and the rest of our support teams have done their job. And 9 times out of 10, that's exactly what happens.
Oh, it's higher percentage than that, for sure. Yeah. No, I mean, again, the frequency of fabrication, minor fabrication errors and stuff, the frequency is incredibly low with the buildings. And that's because of the support through sales, and then also drafting, and then engineering, and the project managers are top notch. So it all the way through fabrication, the detailers, everybody that's working at Chief is really focused on executing at the highest level, right? So it's that commitment that we love so much, because it helps to make us look better too, you know.
And Troy, you guys have grown quite a bit over the last 10 years. You clearly are doing some great things. What are some best practices you'd like to share with other contractors that would make them successful?
Well, so again, I think we kind of touched on it, but earlier I talked about core values, right? So our core values are own it, do it right, and be honest. And we picked those 3. There's another one, LFG, but I can't say that on camera. But we picked these 3 because they're not just nouns. We actually picked verbs on purpose because it shows intent, right? So what I said earlier, when you make a mistake, how do you respond to it, and are you going to fix it? So that's own it. Do it right is you don't get to cut corners. You fulfill your obligation and deliver excellence at every possibility, right? And then be honest. Again, construction is incredibly complicated, and mistakes do happen. So don't hide them. Just be honest. Bring it to the owner. Let them know what's happening. Communicate through it, and move on down the road. Again, it's so easy to do things right as long as you stick to what you believe in. But unfortunately, there's some contractors out there who don't uphold that, and we choose to take a very positive perspective, where we believe that the majority of construction companies out there are very honest and very good companies. But unfortunately, there are those few that will set the expectation pretty low, and the owners end up paying for it in the end.
And Erin, from your perspective, what do you see successful builders do that allows their business to grow?
So I mentioned earlier that we're not transactional. What Ironhide makes it easy because they're engaged in the process. You know, there's collaboration. So their entire team I work with, you know, almost every day. And it's amazing how when you own a process, and I'll go back to that transactional thing. You know, I always call them big, ugly, hard bid general contractors, right? They want to put a piece of paper in front of you and just bid it, but they don't really know what all goes into it. So Ironhide gets training with their team. They attend our builder schools. They attend our certified installer classes. When we do quotes, they're engaged in our quote and order program, which really, the reason for doing that is not to take work off of my shoulders. The reason to do that is they think through their project and they understand how they need to build it. And as they're putting a building in the system, it's you got light bulbs going off in your head. Here, oh, I got to deal with this, and oh, I can't forget this. Rather than just throwing something on my desk and saying, "Give us a price."
Right here, you do.
Well, $3 million. It's your price. I don't know. But that whole process with everybody engaged, they understand that that's what makes you successful. Best in class metal building contractors do those things. And so Ironhide is certainly at the top of that list.
I like that. Best in class.
And Troy, you mentioned earlier that it's not just a relationship with Erin. There's other people on the leadership team. Erin, you mentioned you don't just work with Troy, you work with her whole team. So we're starting to see that it's not just a one-on-one relationship. It's about the entire organization, the entire company. So your teams, you work closely with Erin as well as a lot of other people on the leadership team. Erin, you work really close with Troy. But how does that entire team relationship help make this partnership stronger?
So again, and I hate to sound like a broken record here, but so much of it is just the culture inside of an organization. Again, cultures are built on core values, right? And when everything is just so rooted through the organization, and you can feel it the moment you walk in. Again, I walked through the fabrication plant here 2 weeks ago with the client. And again, every single person on the shop floor, on the fabrication floor, were there smiling, talking when they weren't actively in the middle of building something, right? And they're willing to share, and you could see that they took pride in what they're working on. And you can see that everywhere you go through the drafting department, which to me is not something I would be wanting to do, but you walk through this department and they're happy. They're just having a good time. They're getting work done, but at the same time, more importantly, they're also sharing relationships with one another. And you can feel that everywhere. When I can talk to a person on the floor of the fabrication plant, all the way up to the absolute top of the pyramid that I can call and he'll actually answer my phone call. Just being me, little construction company out of Lincoln, that means a lot, right? It's not typical that you can talk to anybody through an entire organization and they're willing to, not just willing to, but they're wanting to have a relationship with you, and that's something that's really special to us. And it's the same thing that we carry inside Ironhide.
I think the way that translates into back your direction on your customer side of the fence. I mean, we have a number of repeat clients that we're continuing to build buildings for. Ironhide primarily does furnish and erect packages to larger general contractors, and they're coming back to us over and over again. And I think it's part of the process, but also people. To speak to what you said, they can feel that we are a family. We genuinely love doing what we do and love doing it with each other. And I think that's just, it just kind of spreads, and so we've seen our book of business just steadily increase because of those things as well.
Yeah, and so much of it. So for Ironhide, what's really interesting, and it's a metric that we just recently started evaluating over the last 7 years. We've identified that for the last 7 years, where our records, really started to kind of drop off in the past, year over year, we average 80% repeat and referral business. And that speaks not only to the quality of the subcontractors and suppliers that we work with, but also speaks mountains to the level of quality and service that Ironhide provides for our clients.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. Thank you for the conversation today. We realize that the trust, the relationship is really the foundation that allows everything else to grow beyond that. So we can't wait to see what's next.
Sounds good.
Thanks, Beth.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for joining us with this conversation. If you want to learn more, visit the link in the description below.